Okay, now listen. I know to many of you this is going to come as a shock. You won't believe it, but this new Kid Rock album, it's not good. Michigan singer, rapper, songwriter, Kid Rock, or Bob Ritchie, he's back with his 12th full-length album, which comes after an interesting but maybe predictable shift in topical tone, because for years now we've known Kid Rock to flirt with some right-wing politics, certainly appeal to audiences that lean that way, which isn't inherently a bad thing. I guess if that's your personal perspective, but it's not manifesting in any kind of outright hatred or bigotry. But with that being said, in recent years, Rock has also become a bit of a confidant to Donald Trump, and with that, it makes me wonder, why did it take him so long to start coming out with tracks like We the People and Don't Tell Me How to Live, where he is rapping with the same flow that we've heard him rapping with for the past 20 years, and bringing on chants of Let's Go Brandon, while making proclamations of hating Dr. Fauci and everyone in the world is crazy except me, fuck the media, fuck CNN, and look, I hate to be this obnoxiously political in a review of all things, but that's literally the substance of anything social that Kid Rock is trying to say on these songs, and on this record at large. If you look at the cover, the parental advisory sticker actually says Snowflake Advisory. It's so cringe. It's so over the top. It's so desperate to appeal to a narrative. It's actually hilarious that Kid Rock would take moments on this project to say, fuck social media, because like almost everything he says on this record is ripped straight from right-wing pockets of social media. So those two tracks I just mentioned were essentially rap rock teasers and tasters for the entire LP. But with Bad Reputation, that's just the tip of the iceberg, because we get 16 more tracks on this record that cover multiple bases in Kid Rock's back catalog, but especially country and country rock. There is the unintentional comedy of the song My Kind of Country, where instrumentally we are hitting old-time rock and roll levels of boomer energy here. Of course, the song is about country as a genre, but also Kid Rock appreciating, you know, his country as a place, where he's kind of pushing a lot of the same narrative BS, but also indulging in some warped sense of centrism here and there as well, bringing up that he wants to live in a country that has an NAACP and an NRA, because those are the same thing. Ah, yes, the two genders. But yeah, the track overall is derivative, gross, and loaded with weird logical holes. There's also the title track, which is more of a country rock flavor, again with kind of a ZZ Top flair to it. The hook on this one actually feels like a dollar store version of Sharp Dressed Man. The instrumental on Never Quit sounds like something straight out of a goddamn Ford truck commercial. It doesn't help that Kid Rock is singing over it in such an over-exaggerated way about never quitting and dying free. The song Shakedown switches things up with a trap instrumental and some really demonic, tiny, squealed and screamed vocal layers that are just incredibly odd. And once again, when rapping, Kid Rock continues to prove he only has but one flow. Only but one flow. No other flow. There's no other flow. He has no other flow. There's a whole pocket in the midsection of this record that is pretty much one song after the next of bland country balladry. It's kind of hilarious that he would go as far as he is on some of these tracks and the cover to give us the sense that, like, yeah, he's on the edge. He's triggering people. Oh, you can't handle this, snowflake. When these songs are like so grossly sentimental and corny that I don't see who could possibly be offended by anything that they're doing. Like, how is this guy the dude who broke with the bottom, bang the dag diggy 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 to the boogie and up chuck the boogie, and now you're just on one track after another of just like old guy corny shit. Never Enough was a very interesting change of pace though, because instrumentally this feels very much like it's coming out of Bob Seger territory, but Kid Rock, for whatever reason, despite the fact that over much of this record he comes across like a pretty competent singer, he decides to just completely slather his voice in auto-tune, and yeah, it sounds awful, especially especially in the way the effect is applied, because as he starts to dig down deep and push the volume, the effect starts to glitch and almost like cut out a little bit. No idea why. There was something about it that rang to me as a little Kanye-esque, but not as much 808s and Heartbreak as much as it is Motel 8s and Heartbreak. From there, the record stays pretty boring and dreadfully uninteresting until the song Alla-fucking-Bama. And yes, there is a song on this thing titled Alla-fucking-Bama, which, yeah, is just more rah, 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 America, rah, 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 just like all of these boring, cliched, Southern patriotic tropes I'm going to throw in your face again and again and again in order to appeal to a certain audience, get you on my side and feeling like I'm just like you. I'm one of the rootin' tootin' redneck cowboy guys that you like so much. Which, if we look into Kid Rock's history, we see is very much not the case, and he kind of continues to push this narrative further on the song I Am What I Am, where, of course, again, he portrays himself this way and talks about, you know, being on the mean streets and so on and so forth. When you literally grew up a rich kid. He even goes on to the next track complaining about Nashville and how Nashville is sold out and Nashville's this, Nashville's that. Like, bro, Nashville has been known for rhinestone cowboys for decades and decades and decades now. How are you just catching on to this now? But either way, Kid Rock is like complaining about people on this track, like being in town from LA and growing up with a silver spoon. That's you. Your music on this record is bland and annoying. The only parts of it that sort of stand out are the ones where you are desperately trying to appeal to the MAGA crowd, and it's sad. But I guess what's even sadder is the closer, where Kid Rock tries to make light of the fact that he's turned 50. And, you know, while I'm not an ageist myself, and obviously, like, I'm only getting older and older by the year, it'll only be a matter of time before I'm 50. And by that time, I hope to be kicking as much ass and taking as many names as Mr. Rock is. But this song seems like it's just operating out of complete desperation in trying to convince either himself or somebody else that, you know, he's still with it. He's still just as great as he ever was. His dick is still long and lean. Yeah, Kid Rock feels it important to remind us of the dimensions of his penis. And you know what? I gotta say, not interested in pretty much everything this record has to offer. It's shit, it's annoying, it's whiny and complaining. It's very much old man yells at cloud, and then on top of that, it sees Kid Rock in a very sad way, regressing almost, because when I was a kid and did moderately enjoy some of Kid Rock's like hits and popular records around that time, he did come across at least as being genuinely rebellious and did not spend any time on his records being a bootlicker or desperately pandering to any side politically. But now it kind of seems like that's all he wants to do, either through these really rowdy tracks that kick the record off, or in more subtle ways on the more ballad type tracks where he's kind of plugging into sounds and artists that should give people who are into that sort of messaging a hit of nostalgia, of stuff that they grew up with, except maybe the rose-colored glasses will prevent them from seeing that, like, anybody Kid Rock is ripping off on this record, be it Bob Seger, be it ZZ Top, be it any country great, Kid Rock's version here is supremely mediocre in comparison with the original. And there's truly no reason to favor what he's doing here artistically over any of them. And I think we can leave it there. This Kid Rock record, it's not good.